An investigation by this programme has uncovered a number of new leads in the murder of Vishal Mehrotra. The 8-year-old London schoolboy was abducted, then murdered 40 years ago, and his remains were found in Sussex woodland. Now, a victim of a prolific paedophile has told us he was driven down to Sussex in the 1980s by another abuser who sexually assaulted him. Our special correspondent Colin Campbell has this exclusive story update, but you may find some aspects of his report disturbing.
8-year-old Vishal Mehrotra was abducted from London in 1981. His remains found in this slither of Sussex woodland. But no one's ever been convicted of his murder. After a 3-month investigation, we've discovered new leads in a case that's gone unsolved for almost 40 years.
It's only the tying up connection, or the tying up, that has allowed me to bring that to you in relation to Vishal.
This man says he was abused as a child by a paedophile who worked for social services. He says the man drove him from West London to a Sussex school for disadvantaged children around the same time Vishal was abducted. He says the abuser, who he's never spoken about before, was obsessed with tying up children.
When he showed me the pictures of the boys, my recollection of the pictures completely is not clear in the sense, but it was just pictures of boys tied up, you know, hands tied up or legs tied up. The pictures he showed me wasn't me, so there were other boys.
The information is, it seems, significant, as he was also being abused by another paedophile at the same time. A Sussex man who we revealed in July had written a document in 1982 and titled it Vishal. He's an offender who grew up and lived not far from the woods where Vishal's remains were found, a man interviewed by police last year who I've continued an open dialogue with. The pensioner now recalls living at a residential property in 1981 on the day Vishal vanished, which is less than 8 miles from the woods where the schoolboy's partial remains were recovered. He also admits sexually abusing a second young boy of Indian heritage at the address, a boy who he told me he had a crush on. Even more worrying, perhaps, he accepts that at least 3 child sex offenders were visiting the property in the 1980s. But he continues to strenuously deny having anything to do with Vishal's murder or knowing an abuser who tied up children. He also says other members of his child abuse ring would not have killed a child. But I've discovered one member of the child abuse ring fled from the UK in the 1990s when he came to the attention of Sussex police. He is another abuser with links to West London, who it seems has never been questioned in connection to Vishal's murder. For legal reasons, we're not naming him, but he served time in prison in the 1970s for child abuse. In 1979, he was barred from working at a Kent school after trying to use a false name. In the mid-90s, he travelled to India, where he tried to get work at a school for vulnerable children, but was stopped after the school carried out checks. A cold case expert, Sean Keep, was part of the Met Police team that jailed 2 men for the murder of Stephen Lawrence.
The whole aspect of a suspect for a number of paedophile offences leaving the UK never to be seen again clearly is indicative that that person has gone on the run for a purpose and to avoid justice. The question is, what is he avoiding? And I think that needs to be investigated.
Before meeting, I shared with him all of the information I've unearthed over the last 3 months.
I think this is a significant moment in time for the investigation. There's so much information that you have discovered alone with the work that you've done, on top of the information that has recently come to the police's attention over the last year or so, that to me makes this a real turning point in the investigation.
In July, Vishal's father demanded a reinvestigation into his son's unsolved murder.
My conclusion is very simple. They are potentially trying to brush this under the carpet as far as possible because of this problem having started 38 years ago. And I think they're just a bit too tired of it.
Sussex police declined to comment on the new information, but in a statement told us there are still no significant developments in the case. but all unresolved murders are subject of regular assessment, adding they'll take any opportunity to pursue any new lines of inquiry that might lead to justice being obtained for Vishal and his family. Those who've provided the new information hope it's acted on.
I didn't want to disclose any of this, but if it involves, or if an issue is raised in the sense of a child being murdered, then if I keep quiet or don't divulge this to somebody, I feel like you could have been that little jigsaw piece, even if the jigsaw piece is just a plain blue, it doesn't have any picture. Do you know it's still part of a jigsaw?
Colin Campbell, BBC South East Today.
Well, Colin's with us now. So, Colin, Sussex Police have welcomed the new information that you've uncovered. Do we know whether they're going to act on it now?
Well, we've provided them with a summary of the information that we've gained over the last few months. Sometimes police forces request further detail. That may still happen. In July, Sussex Police told us that they had thoroughly investigated the convicted child offender, the convicted paedophile who had written and titled this document, Vishal, that was found in his possession, and they had no further plans to look into it. Now, that, of course, prompted me to investigate further and to find this new information, or information that I perceive to be new, information which Sussex Police at the moment don't appear to be too interested in. Two highly respected former Met Police detectives, however, believe what we've got now are the best leads this case has ever had.
OK, Colin, thank you. And if you've been affected by Colin's report, then you can visit bbc.co.uk.